It might be the single most important practical skill you can develop for your adult life.
Exactly.
Every single morning, you face a choice. Do you show up as your real authentic self?
Yeah.
Or do you spend that day trying to be what you think other people expect you to be?
And that choice, repeated over and over, that's what determines your entire trajectory. Most of us are so busy trying to meet the world's expectations, dressing a certain way, chasing goals that aren't even ours.
Right.
That we never even pause to ask who we actually are.
Yeah.
We spend all our energy measuring our value with someone else's ruler.
And the world is constantly teaching you what to measure, isn't it? It teaches you how to fix your flaws, improve your appearance, how to compare, how to compete.
And ultimately how to earn love, how to prove your value.
Yeah.
But what's so fascinating is the counter-narrative in these sources. The foundational truth is you were born worthy.
From day one.
From day one. You don't have to earn love.
Yeah.
You just need to allow it. You don't have to prove yourself. You have to understand yourself.
So the struggle is trying to get permission from other people.
Exactly. We're desperately trying to get external permission to be ourselves when we already have the power to give that permission internally.
Which brings us right to this idea of self-abandonment, the cost of pleasing others. We do it all the time without even realizing it.
Oh, constantly. We abandon ourselves when we stay silent to avoid a fight.
Or say yes to something you absolutely do not want to do.
Yes. Or pretending to agree with everyone just to fit in or, keep the peace.
And the sources are so clear about the consequence of that.
Crystal clear. The cost of pleasing others is losing your connection to yourself, and that is simply too high a price to pay.
If you want real freedom, you have to stop negotiating your identity for comfort.
And that's the big difference, right? Self-love lets you connect with people without losing yourself in the process. It builds that quiet, steady confidence that comes from living in your truth.
And that's a confidence that can't be taken away from you.
Because it doesn't depend on praise. It doesn't depend on what happens outside of you.
But this is where it gets a little tough for anyone listening. Because the sources warn you, when you start living this way, you will get some pushback. You might even lose some people.
Yeah, that's the harsh truth. Some people only accept you when you play small or when you fit into the box they've made for you.
So how do you know the difference? I mean, how do you know if you're setting a healthy boundary versus just being difficult?
That's a great question. And the material offers a lot of clarity there. It's about integrity. If you're communicating your needs respectfully and honestly, and the other person responds with anger or they withdraw because you're not playing that old role anymore, then their reaction isn't your responsibility.
Their comfort isn't your job.
Exactly. Your integrity is your job. Real connection is built on honesty, not on you making yourself smaller.
Okay, so once we stop negotiating externally, we have to deal with the internal landscape. The sources then pivot to managing that constant noise in your own head.
The inner critic.
Yes, the inner critic, that little voice whispering, you're not good enough. Are you messed up again? Usually before you've even had coffee.
And we just accept it as fact, as gospel truth.
We do.
And this is maybe the biggest mindset shift in the whole deep dive. A thought is a suggestion. It's not a sentence from a judge.
A suggestion, I like that.
We don't choose the thoughts that pop into our heads, but we absolutely choose which ones to believe and which ones to feed. Your mind is just repeating what it was taught. If you were criticized a lot, you'll criticize yourself. It's a habit. It's not truth.
But those thoughts are so persuasive. How do you actually fight an ingrained habit like that?
Well, the sources say that negative thinking really thrives in silence. If you just let it run on a loop, it gets stronger.
It gains credibility.
It does, so you have to interrupt it with something grounded, calm, and rooted in the present moment.
And there's a specific mechanism for that, isn't there?
A simple but powerful one. You have to stop and look at the thought like it's a piece of faulty evidence. You ask, where is the actual verifiable proof for this?
Am I looking at the full picture?
Or am I just fixating on one tiny flaw? Yeah. When you drag the thought into the light of logic, you realize most of them aren't logic. They're just emotional reactions disguised as facts.
And then you replace them, not with fake positive affirmations, but with stabilizing phrases.
Anchors. Things rooted in reality, like, this moment is hard, but it doesn't define who I am.
Or, I made a mistake, but I'm still moving forward.
Exactly. These phrases teach your brain that it's safe to fail, it's safe to feel, it's safe to start over, and that safety is where real confidence starts to grow.
Here's where it gets really interesting. This ties right into resilience and fear. The sources argue that fear itself isn't the problem. The problem is avoiding fear.
Yes. Every single time you sidestep what scares you, that tough conversation, that big project, you shrink your confidence, you limit your own options.
And you reinforce the idea that you can't handle it.
You're just proving the fear right. And resilience isn't built in these huge, grand acts of bravery. It's built through steady, small, intentional movements toward discomfort.
So you don't have to leave off the cliff.
No, just take one step toward the edge. That's it.
And that one step, that steady movement, it acts like a brain update, right?
It's a total update for your nervous system. When you take calm action while you're feeling afraid, you teach yourself a crucial lesson. Discomfort is not the same thing as danger.
And that's where courage comes from.
That's where it's formed. But we have to watch out for fear's disguises.
Like perfectionism.
Oh, that's a big one. Waiting for the perfect time, the perfect skills. That's fear. So is procrastination, busying yourself with unimportant tasks.
And overthinking. Getting stuck in analysis paralysis.
Right. And the sources hammer this point home. Confidence only comes from doing the thing you thought you couldn't do. You cannot think your way into competence.
Okay, so let's move to external action. Prioritizing your needs.
This is a big one. True strength isn't about how much you can tolerate or sacrifice. It's about knowing when to step back and say, hey, I matter too.
It's about taking radical responsibility for your own well-being.
Without waiting for permission. And this is where that guilt trap shows up.
The feeling that it's selfish.
Yeah, so many of us were conditioned to believe that.
Right.
We got rewarded for putting others first, always. But the sources are clear. The cost of self-neglect is exhaustion, bitterness, resentment. That's not noble, that's destructive.
So that guilt we feel, it's not a moral compass.
It's a conditioned response. It's just an old signal.
So how do we tell the difference between that conditioned guilt and genuine remorse for something?
That's a key distinction. Genuine remorse is specific. It's about a concrete action that caused real harm, and it motivates you to repair things.
Okay.
Conditioned guilt is vague, it's persistent, and all it motivates is more self-sacrifice. If you feel guilty just for resting, that's conditioning, not ethics.
Once we prioritize needs, we need boundaries to protect them. And I love the analogy the sources use.
The door is not walls.
Boundaries are doors, not walls. They're flexible. They help you decide what energy, what request, what comes into your life.
And you don't owe anyone a huge explanation. You don't need to write an essay to justify your no.
A simple, I can't do that right now, is enough.
Or, that doesn't work for me. When you over-explain, you're basically asking for their permission, which undermines the whole boundary.
And if they push back?
The sources say that's useful information to have. It means they're prioritizing their own comfort over your well-being. And that tells you everything you need to know about that relationship.
And crucially, boundaries aren't just about saying no to other people.
No, they're about saying yes to yourself, yes to rest, yes to your creative pursuits, yes to your own peace. You have to teach people how to treat you by showing them what you will and won't accept.
Which sets us up perfectly for the daily habit stack. This isn't about grand gestures.
No, mental health just needs steady, daily attention. Consistency is the secret weapon here.
So, starting with the morning, that morning transition.
Stop diving straight into your phone, into the stress cycle. Just start slow. A few deep breaths, a stretch, a glass of water.
And remind yourself,
I don't have to rush to be worthy. Just that simple ritual reclaims the first few minutes of your day.
And then throughout the day, a consumption check.
Being really selective about what you're absorbing, the content, the conversations, all of it.
If something leaves you feeling anxious or self-critical,
that's a signal, a powerful one. It's a signal to create distance. You are absolutely allowed to curate your emotional diet.
To balance that external noise, the sources talk about creating a sacred appointment.
A sanctuary. It can be 10 minutes. It's just about dedicated stillness.
Mindful breathing, maybe some journaling.
Journaling to get the worries out, yeah. And then silence. In that silence, you start to realize not every thought is an emergency. It builds that internal stability.
This connects directly to joy investment.
Yeah.
Which is not a luxury.
No, it's vital for resilience. It means engaging with things that really resonate with your core values. And you have to explore to find that, to avoid the comparison trap. It has to be authentic to you.
And then self-appreciation. Celebrating the small wins.
Confidence is built slowly through these tiny successes. You have to celebrate them.
Even getting out of bed on a tough day.
Especially that. Celebrate that you held a boundary, resisted a negative thought, or that you just showed up. It reinforces your identity as someone who doesn't quit. And finally, you need forgiveness.
This is a huge one. The message is, You cannot keep punishing yourself for things you didn't know back then.
You were doing the best you could with the tools you had at the time.
Forgiveness is a quiet decision to stop.
To stop picking at the same emotional scabs. Regret is supposed to point you toward wisdom, not be a permanent home. You are not your worst mistake.
Which brings it all home to the final point. Ownership of happiness.
The idea that no one else is coming to save you, it sounds harsh, but it's actually so freeing.
Because you stop outsourcing your healing.
Exactly. You stop waiting for other people's approval. Taking responsibility is transformational. Happiness grows in clarity, not in denial.
Which means asking hard questions.
The really hard ones. What am I tolerating that's making me bitter? What old belief is making me feel like I'm not enough? You have to heal your own wounds.
And as you do this work, we have to avoid the all-or-nothing trap of perfectionism.
Absolutely. Focus on progress, not perfection.
Yeah.
And please, stop measuring yourself against some idealized version of someone else.
Measure your progress against
your own past self. That's it. Are you further along today than you were 3 months ago? Mistakes aren't failures. They're just part of learning.
And you can't do it in a vacuum. The sources mention the supportive circle.
You have to surround yourself with people who support your growth. Curious, empathetic people who challenge you and celebrate you without envy. Energy is contagious.
And the final commitment is just loving yourself through the hard stuff.
That's the bedrock. It's consciously choosing to reject those negative voices when you're stressed, to honor your own worth even when the world outside is chaotic.
So when we boil it all down, what does this all mean? The path is actually pretty clear. Live in your truth, manage your inner world, protect your energy with boundaries.
And commit to those small, steady, daily habits of care. It's not one big moment of insight.
It's a daily act of commitment, a practice.
It is. And if we can leave you with one final thought to carry with you, the commitment to self-love is a radical act of defiance. It's defying a world that often wants to tie your worth to your achievements or to how much people approve of you.
You're just asserting your own value.
For asserting your intrinsic value, totally independent of all that external validation. And your healing truly begins the moment you stop asking your past to define your future.